Hey everybody, welcome to Bestie Book Reviews. I'm here with my bestie Mandy.
And I'm here with my bestie, Jessica.
So you guys loved it when we did our mature heroine video, I don't know, this last summer or whenever that was.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. So we decided to give you yet another mature heroine. We like it when they're a little bit older sometimes. I feel like those old people on Willy Wonka, the grandparents that never get out of bed, like they're stuck in their bed. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, but then magically they're totally up for a tour, an all-day tour of walking around.
Yeah, shocking. So, okay, what do you want to tell the people before we get started?
Well, hit that subscribe button and like and comment. We love to interact with you guys in the comments. And then also, if you are subscribed to us, then keep an eye out for our 3K giveaway, which we are working towards right now.
Mm-hmm. Nope. Yep. Nope. Yep.
You hope.
I know. Okay, so let's get started with some mature heroine recommendations for you guys. You ready? I'm gonna switch me over. Okay, so the first book I have is one that I recently read. Now, we're not told exactly how old the heroine is, but she's a doctor, so she's got to be older than 25. Okay, like I'm just putting it out there. Her sister was the president, and I think you have to be a certain age to be the president, right? So, like, you know. Anyhow, so this is House of Night by Celia Aaron. This is the first book in a trilogy that will be coming out here over the next, I don't know, however many months. But this is it's got post-apocalyptic feels because there is a plague that has kind of wiped out humanity or is helping to wipe out humanity. Then the vampires are coming in and wiping out the rest. But it has a very post-apocalyptic feel to it. Our heroine is definitely older, and it is about Georgia. When we first see her, she's being held captive in DC by all of these vampires. Somebody very important to the Vampire King was killed, and he is getting revenge by just basically sucking all the humans dry. And she has amnesia. She cannot remember how, and like really important aspects. She knows who she is. She can kind of sort of remember what happened, but if she starts to remember, like she was a doctor trying to find the cure, working with the government. Like if she tries to really think about it, then it hurts her head and she can't pull it up. So Valen is this vampire who has been tasked with keeping her alive and finding out her secrets. And so this is a very, very slow burn. But it was so great. It's great. It's great. She's older. It's great. Just go pick it up and read it. Or wait till they're all three out. It doesn't matter, but just go do it. I mean, it does matter to me, but yeah.
You are bossing around the people who watch your show.
I'm sorry guys, I'm kind of hurting right now, so I'm just trying to get through them. So, okay. That makes me bossy when I'm in pain. I'm sorry, I cannot help it. What's your first rec? Would you like to tell us?
No comment.
Bossy all the time.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry. Comes with being the oldest sibling, I think.
Okay.
You can't tell me your oldest doesn't boss around your younger too. He's a boy. He's a little bit different though.
Yeah.
All
right.
Okay.
Let's jump
First
in.
rec. What do you got?
Okay, so my first one is The One I Love by Shel Sloan. And Amelia and Shane have been best friends since they were like kids. So they grow like teenage years, all of that. And so I forgot to say, this story takes place when they're older, though. So she is 35. So when she is 18, she gets pregnant and gets married. And she is recently divorced. And this whole time, Shane has kind of been pining for her. He has been doing his own thing as well. But in the back of his mind, he always kind of felt like she was the one that got away, even though they're best friends. So she is now divorced and she's a single mom. And so they start spending more time together and they kind of get fake engaged and it gets out of hand really, really quickly. And they have to try and figure out how to rein that back in. But they are fighting their feelings for each other when they're doing this. I really loved this one. I like a good fake engagement. And this one, it just gets out of hand so quickly and you can kind of like you follow along and you can kind of understand how I can't figure out how to get back.
Oh Hold
I
on.
understand how it got so out of control, but
Mhm.
I love that they're older, which is the whole point of this video. Like she's 35. So I think your priorities kind of look a little different
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. Totally. So,
Yeah.
okay. So the next one I have, I think she's one of my younger heroines. I think she's in her later 20s, pushing 30, if not quite 30, but she's very mature because of what she's been through.
Like
So,
me,
just like
pushing
you.
my 30s.
No, no, just mature. Okay. So this is about Marty and Dallas. Dallas is living in a remote cabin. He lost his wife and his 6-month-old son to carbon monoxide poisoning a handful of years later or earlier. And he
Oh,
is,
I've been wanting to read this one.
yeah, he is having a really hard time processing that. And then you have Marty, who is trying to get to her son. Her son was visiting, her son's 3. He was visiting his dad, who lives in a different state than her. And they had a great relationship. Dad's remarried and everything. But dad suddenly died. Like it was just a sudden situation that they weren't expecting. And her son is with his stepmom, but she's trying to get to her son because this is obviously very traumatic for him. But she gets caught in a snowstorm and her car goes off the road, and that is where Dallas finds her and then takes her back to his cabin. So now they're both very haunted. They both have things like she's processing this, just trying to get to her kids. She has things that she's dealt with as well that he doesn't know about. But he's just really wallowing in his self-pity, understandably so, but he's not understanding that, she could possibly understand what you're going through. But yeah, they're snowed in together, they're stuck together, and this is their story. It was so good. I really loved it.
And
Yeah.
for those of us who didn't have our pen ready in time, what was the name of
I'm
that?
sorry, I don't know that I said it. Loud Unspoken Memories by Samantha Christie.
Okay, I've been wanting to read it and I keep forgetting to
Mhm.
grab it.
I think so. There are some certain authors that I know I can go to get older heroines. Samantha Christie sometimes, not always, sometimes, but like Devaney Perry is always good for older heroines, and Kristen Ashley writes her heroines older. I can count on them to have all 3 of those to have older heroines typically. So just
Liz.
in case, Liz Hamilton. Well, she's already on the list. She's coming up here in a minute.
Oh,
But yes,
sorry.
yeah, no, it's okay. Liz Hamilton will always write someone in
Spoiler.
her at least 30 or older. So yeah,
All right.
yeah. Okay, what do you got next?
Okay, my next one is Love You Truly by Stacey Travis, and our heroine in this is 33. And so this is Mallory. Mallory is desperate to get control of her winery and her life and all of that. So she is running her parents' winery. Her parents are extremely flighty people. They just kind of take off and do their own thing. And Mallory's been running the winery. But they are a little bit like old fashioned and don't really believe in Mallory. So they believe that she needs a good man in her life to help her with the winery, even though she's successfully doing it on her own right now. So they believe that should be her ex, and he is desperate to get the winery from Mallory, basically. And so she has got to get him out of her life. And this is where Dash comes in. Dash needs to get some information on some grapes and some different things. So they end up in this mutually beneficial situation where she's going to help him if he will marry her so she can get rid of her ex and maintain control of the winery. So again, we have that fake relationship, but it makes sense because she's like the parents just don't get it really. And so she's kind of desperate to save the winery, and this is her way to do that. But of course, they're going to be perfect for each other, but they don't really know that because they're just so focused on their goals.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Yes.
Okay, so a minute ago I mentioned Devaney Perry. That is the author of my next book. Like I said,
Did
I
you
can
just
count
jump
on them.
ahead there?
Huh?
Did you just kind of jump ahead?
A little bit. Well, no, I
And
kind
then
of
I
wanted to
helped
mention it.
out.
Like, I know that those authors, I can always go to them and to find an older heroine. Not every single time, but the majority of the time, their heroines are older. And so I just, I forgot to mention that those are good authors to go to. But obviously, I have them on my list too, except for Kristen. But so yes, so I have the Brazen. This is actually says it's by Will and Nash, but Will and Nash wrote as Devaney Perry wrote as Will and Nash for a minute, and so a lot of those actually say Devaney Perry now if you look them up. But this is another snowed in one too, because apparently that was a theme for me for a hot minute. So this is about Kerrigan and Pierce. Kerrigan finds out, so she's a businesswoman. I don't remember if it tells us exactly how old she is, but whatever. She's a businesswoman living in Calamity, Montana. And she is starting, like, basically she's starting up businesses. Like, she's got several different types of businesses that she runs, but she's kind of in the beginning and she's losing like money and she's not really making any money and she's having a hard time. She has this mentor who gave her this loan and to start up her businesses, and he really believed in her. Well, she'd asked him for an extension because the loan was coming due, and he had verbally said, of course, no problem. He's an older guy, no problem. And then he proceeded to get himself killed in a plane crash the next day before any paperwork could be signed. Well, lo and behold, Pierce is his grandson. He's his estranged grandson, and he comes to Montana to collect on these debts, and he just has it out for Kerrigan for whatever reason. He actually believes that she was a mistress to his grandpa, even though that is not their relationship at all, and so he takes it out on her. He's very bitter about things that happened when he was younger. But he comes to Calamity, Montana, and he is staying in his grandpa's house out in the boontoonies, out in the wilderness. And Kerrigan comes to try and give him part of the money and try to, like, work things out. And then they get snowed in together, and it's like a thing. So, there you go. There you go. It was good. Snowed in with a hot, rich businessman. I don't know why that would be a hardship.
Did anybody say it was?
She might have alluded to it, but no, it's not hardship.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, my next one, I have talked about this book before, but I haven't talked about it for a few minutes. So here we go. Okay. So this is Alone with You by Ali Martinez. This is kind of more of a thriller romance with like some twists and mystery and stuff going on in it. And you would want to check triggers for this as well, if you think that you need to. I'm not trying to boss you around. Just a warning, you might want to. Oh my gosh, I dig my hole faster. Anyway, so let's get back to the book. So we have Gwendolyn in this story, and she is an older heroine. I think she's in her mid-ish 30s, but I could be wrong. I was trying to look while Jessica was talking and I couldn't find it. I just wrote in my notes, mature heroine. Anyway, so we have Truett. Truett is a recluse. He's lived in his home. He like doesn't leave. He just stays there. He works remotely. And once a week, he forces himself to walk down to the diner. And that's like the only thing he does outside of his home. And he does this for his daughter. And so one day he walks down there and finds the diner is closed. And this throws his like entire world off its axis because this is the one thing that he does outside of his home. And he realizes that Gwen is now the owner of the diner. And Gwen kind of did this like, she bought this diner and she's determined to turn it around and make it successful. And she is a little shocked to find Truett there because they used to know each other, and how they're connected gets unraveled throughout the whole story. He is suffering. He has secrets, and now there's a news crew coming to town to try and get to the bottom of some things that have taken place. And so it's a very emotional one, but you do have that mature heroine. But oh, I love this book so much.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Hold on. Oh, want to make sure my finger didn't slip and I'd kick you out again because that's happened quite a bit recently. Okay. So it's been all my fault, but
subconsciously you've been doing that.
I wasn't doing it intentionally. Okay, so this next book I've talked, like, if you watch every single one of our videos, you'll have seen that over the last week I've talked about this book a couple of times, but it just happened to fit all of these tropes and I really loved it. And so I'm going to talk about it for a third time. And if you haven't heard me talk about it, well, here you go. So this,
let us know in the comments if Jessica's getting repetitive in her old age.
Anyhow, so in this book, our heroine is 38. So that is Red Rabbit by Devin Rivers. So this is a very, 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 very dark romance book. I am going to tell you right now to check your triggers because there is a lot of stuff on page that can be triggering for people. But this, so our heroine works for the military, and she's been visiting her friend up in the Arctic Circle. Now she is flying home on this little rinky-dink plane, and she happens to look up. She's engaged. The guy's a douche canoe. She's listening to him talk, like yell at her on the phone on speaker because she's trying to get to the plane. When she looks up and sees that there's a U.S. Marshal and a guy in handcuffs and the pilot, and that is who's in front of her. So they hear this conversation, and then she realizes that there's a guy in handcuffs getting on this plane with her, and it's very small. It's smaller than what she expected. She has to ride up front with the pilot. So, yeah. The plane does not make it to its destination. It actually crash lands, and she and Mr. Handcuffs are the only ones to make it out of this. Which now they're in the wilderness, they're trying to survive. But some other things happen where she gets taken, and she's basically subjected to some really horrific things. But this book is just so good. She's definitely older. She has her career, she has her life planned out for her. But things don't always work out like we expect them to. So yeah. True dat. Yeah.
I'm trying to sound young now.
No, just tell them about your next rec, okay?
Okay.
Please.
I appreciate you not taking a dig at all the grays in my hair that I need to go get dyed ASAP.
Because I can't see them without my glasses on. You know what? Just give the damn rec, okay? Some of us can't have LASIK because some of us are glaucoma suspects. I've been a glaucoma suspect since I was like 4, so, and it's not. I just have really big thingies. Optic nerves. You good? You good? Anyhow.
You're trying to convince people that you're not old, and then you just keep laying it on.
I know, it was intentional. Okay, what's your next rec?
You might have glaucoma.
I'm saying someday I could. I'm very, very, very young for it, they tell me, which is why they watch me all the time. So, it's fine. It's all good.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was born that way.
Okay.
What book do you have next?
Because I Need You.
I know you do. Yeah.
That's the book by Clara Contreras.
Okay.
Okay, so this is about Isabel. Isabel is going to be our mature heroine. And Isabel's dad passes away. And she realizes she had no idea who he was. Like, he had some deep, dark secrets that she is just blown away as she's going through his home and going through his things, especially when she finds a marriage certificate that looks exactly like her signature to some guy from 11 years ago. So she realizes that this is a valid marriage certificate, and she's been married for 11 years. So she hunts the guy down, Giovanni, and she wants some answers, and she kind of just barges in on him. And he only recently discovered that they're also married. So this was something their fathers did behind both of their backs. So talk about an arranged marriage. And she wants him to give her some answers about who her dad was, what's going on, and she also wants a divorce. But Giovanni has some things that he wants that her dad had that has now put her into some serious danger because, again, she had no idea that her dad was not just a landscaper.
Yeah. So I know that you probably don't worry about this as much as I do because of your circumstances growing up. But the whole dad thing I told my mom the other day, I said, we did one of those DNA tests, right? My parents have been married since they were 17. So the chances of this happening is slim to none. He said, but every time I get you have a DNA match, I always wonder if it's going to be a half sibling out there somewhere. Because there's been so many people that I know that have done that and found they have other siblings out there. I know 2 right off the top of my head. So I always worry that that's what's going to happen, or not worry. It's a joke. It's a running joke in our family that one day we're going to pull it up and it's going to be you have another sibling. It is a possibility. And
I'm
that's typically a bad
adopted.
thing. I know. That's why I said you don't necessarily worry about that as much. I guess it could happen though. But you already know that. Never mind. Just never mind. Never mind. You know my dad, so like, you know.
Okay.
Anyhow, okay. So the next book I mentioned, Liz Hamilton, that is the author. She just put out a new book. I love it. All of her books tend to be dystopian or post-apocalyptic, and she has this thing where she says, my heroines are going to be older. Like, you're not going to survive the apocalypse at 17, 18, 19, 20. Typically, they're 30-ish. And so our heroine in this one is 30 years old. So this is Caitlyn Can't Die. This is her newest release. It is a post-apocalyptic rom-com. Loved it. It was so good. Probably will be on my top reads of the year. But this is about Caitlyn and Riley. So Caitlyn is living through the apocalypse. She was on her third date with a guy. It ended when the apocalypse happened. It's more like a zombie type apocalypse when the sickness started to go through everybody. And she says it's only 2.5 days, but they were together on the date, and the sex has been good, so they stick together. And sex is a bonus. And so one day they're trying to get her tampons. The poor girl just needs tampons. You know how hard it'll be to find tampons in the apocalypse? Just trying to find her some tampons. And these zombie-like creatures attack, and she is now alone, and she is bleeding in multiple places because it's not just the period. She gets cut and hurt when she is found by Riley. So Riley has medical experience, and he finds her bleeding out, and he decides he's going to take her with him and this other guy, and they're going to nurse her back to health. And then this just turns into them trying to survive and trying to get to they're just trying to survive. They're just trying to survive at this point. I loved it. It really is like a whole play on the whole, like, the girl just needed freaking tampons. Like, how horrible is that? Let's talk about. I mean, he's a scarred hero. He's gorgeous, but he's scarred. But like, you're just trying to survive the apocalypse.
Do you think we could have survived the apocalypse when we were 18? I mean, I barely survived church camp with you walking me to the bathroom, so
You hadn't had your LASIK yet, you'd have been screwed.
yeah.
Because how would you have gotten your contacts? And your contacts had to be specially ordered. Not only that, your glasses were special as well. I mean, glasses don't last very long in the apocalypse.
No.
And obviously I was a, all for me type situation. So I feel like with our parents, we could have survived because we were raised how to live that way, right? Off the land and that kind of stuff. But I don't think you and I together in our VW Volkswagen, our bus traveling around the country would have survived an apocalypse situation. No.
Yeah.
We never did that, by the way. That was just a running joke that we were going to. Yeah.
We used to watch The Walking Dead.
Yes.
And it used to like stress me out a little bit thinking
Yes.
about I mean, wasn't stressed out about zombies, but like if something happened, like what would I do? Because I legit could not see. So LASIK was really good.
Yes. It was a good choice for you.
But
yes.
for a long time, I wasn't an eligible candidate for it because of my how severe some of my eye stuff was.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so
I can see now.
Yeah, you can see now, and I can't. All right, what's your last rec?
Well, you can see.
I can see. It's things just are a little blurry.
You would be able to survive. I would.
Yes.
I would have been totally reliant on somebody who could legit walk me into a tree.
Exactly. Sorry. And for me, things are like I can read. I don't have to have reading glasses or anything, and I can see. It's just things are a little fuzzy, a little further out. So. Okay. All right.
Okay, my last rec.
Yes.
Okay. Our heroine is older, but she does something that's slightly immature, but I feel like we can all kind of understand this.
Okay.
So this is Love, It's Complicated by Janine Colette. And so we have Melissa. Melissa breaks into her ex-husband's girlfriend's salon because she used to do her hair. And she really liked the color that the lady did her hair. And she's been drinking with some friends, and she's pissed that not only did she lose like her ex-husband to this lady, she now can't even get a good dye job. So she decides to break into the salon to get the hair color.
Mm-hmm.
That's all she wants. Well, of course, the cops show up, and that is Will. Will shows up. He has to take her to the police station. It's a whole thing. And let's just say this is not going to be the first time that Will has to take her to the police station, because something else is going to happen that lands her back through kind of no fault of her own. Well, then she is, even though she's divorced, she's a wedding planner, and she has kids that she's raising. She lives with her dad with the kids. Like, she's trying to just do the best that she can and like have some normalcy for her family. So she's a wedding planner, and this lady shows up excited to plan her wedding, and Will is the guy that she's marrying. But her and Will have been flirting with each other and shared a fairly intimate dance at a bar after he's arrested her, of course. So I love this one. You can kind of start to think like, oh, maybe Will's not a great guy, but you just have to go with the story and like kind of see why some things aren't always as they appear. But I
Mm-hmm.
really enjoyed it. And even though she did do some things, like, it's written kind of funny, like, and you can kind of like, if you've ever been jilted by, a boyfriend or something, you can kind of see like
Oh,
why,
yeah.
how a little bit of wine kind of led to this, like, I'm just gonna go get my hair color back.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. Okay, so there you have it, guys. 10 mature, most of the time, heroines in romance, that kind of thing. Yeah.
So
Okay.
comment below, let us know. Do you want to see more mature heroine Rex? Um, is there something on your mind that you want to tell us? Is there a video you want to see coming? We have some stuff planned out, but we're always changing our schedule and everything. So let us know in the comments if there's something
Mhm.
more specific or something specific you're hoping to see.
Yep.
And yeah,
We'll try and make it work.
thanks for
Nope. They need to check back.
no thanks. Check back on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays for new videos from us. And we have some great author lineups coming in April. Very excited.
Yeah, totally.
Our schedule had to get changed a little bit because of Jessica's surgery recovery has unfortunately been a little bit more
More of a
complicated
pain in the
than
tush.
she was hoping for. So we've had to change a few things around, but we do have some
Yeah,
great lineups coming for
we
you.
do. We do. And Mandy's also leaving me.
Yeah, and if
Mhm.
anybody's keeping track, this is like to Jessica's 7th or 8th time leaving me.
I know. But she's still leaving me. So, all right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.